Hey everybody, Josh Lupresto here again, VP of Sales Engineering with Telarus, and we're back for another series as part of our Race to the Summit. And we're joined today with Kent George, Sales Engineer Extraordinaire from AT&T. Kent, thanks for joining, buddy.
Hey, thank you. It's very exciting to be here, and I so appreciate the invite to come and talk to you guys today.
So today, we want to cover, we got a lot of stuff to unpack. You guys have a lot of great things that offer the portfolio, but we want to make sure that we get an opportunity to help our partners as they're going down the road in these conversations with their customers, really understand the solutions that you have, how they apply, and then how they can take that back to their customers, right? And get into some real meat into it. So before we do though, we want to learn a little bit about who we're talking to, right? I know you, we've known each other for a while. Can you give everybody a little bit of backstory, and maybe I'll lead us in with three things that maybe you want to tell people about that you may have something in common with. MC Hammer, Tony Hawk, and the Denver Broncos. And then tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, well, I've had this amazing journey in telecommunications. My first degree, after being an extreme sports athlete and finding out that my body couldn't perform the way it once could, I ended up picking up a camera and changing from sort of this hotel restaurant major to technical communications with an emphasis in film and video, which led me down a bunch of different paths, including working for the Denver Broncos as a cameraman, and eventually working with our sports teams here in town, the Nuggets and some of the other groups, and they'd have me come in and do interviews and film with various halftime events and things that we were doing there. And as I continued to get older, I found myself moving more and more into telecom. I ended up working for the Denver Broncos the full season in 1995-96 as a cameraman. And then while I was there, I was helping set up internet and various things at the time that was going on, pulling cables in the ceilings, one thing or another. And it just seemed as though I continued to go down this path further and further, and moving more away from my passion as a cinematographer and working in the sports field, and more towards telecommunications. And I would say now it's been roughly 25 years in telecom. I'm just very happy that I came away from this idea of working in hotels and restaurants and running bars and things that I was doing at the time, and going into something that I think really is beneficial to the world and to people in general. And that's telecom. And I couldn't be more passionate about it. I think it's just been a great experience. That's as far as MC Hammer is concerned, that's a kind of a funny story. I had been brought into the Pepsi Center, and which is our basketball arena here, and told if I could come and film a halftime event, which turned into an interview. But I had no idea initially who I would be working with, and I ended up spending the evening with MC Hammer, filming and interviewing him, and had a great time there. And then they had me come back and do various other events as well. So it's just been a tremendous thing too, to see that everything, voice, video, data, it's all sort of combining now into one stream, and sort of these unified services that we're all a part of now, which is really fantastic. It's very exciting to see. And it's not slowing down. It's just continuing the growth. If you love to learn, if you love to be a part of something really fantastic, this is the most amazing business, the most fun you could have. You've just got to be open and enjoy the ride. And I hope you are too, honestly, Josh. I hope you're having as much fun as I'm having.
It's a fun ride, man. It's a fun ride. I think we all have these crazy, wild courses, right? I used to be a car mechanic, right? And here we are. Tech is fun. And, like you just tinkered with things over time and went, I could do this. This is kind of fun. And, it's great because it just keeps changing. We just keep learning, keep anything to keep our brains from turning to mush, right? We love taking on that, figuring out how to learn these new things, what they mean, and then how to translate that into a way that helps our partners, right? And then helps the customers solve the problems, because every problem is different. So it's good. It's been it's a fun ride, man.
I think it's a special thing. I think our customers are extremely important. I think if you're passionate about that customer service at every level, with our partners, with our actual customers directly, and about the technology, you're a good fit for this. I honestly think it's just a fantastic place to be in the business.
I love it. That being said, man, let's jump into some technology.
Oh yeah.
So there's some good stuff coming out with the AT&T ACC SD-WAN now. Can you talk to me about what is in that offering? What do partners need to understand that all encompasses inside this?
You know, it's really exciting because this year we combined our ACC group with the Alliance group. So again, more new things for us to learn to understand how ACC was doing things and see what products we would start to cross-pollinate within ACC. SD-WAN and our what we call our SD-WAN Now product is no exception for that. So that's our SD-WAN Now product was something that was already available via the Alliance channel to begin with. It's now also available within ACC. This is sort of that turnkey, easy button solution for SD-WAN. The idea is sort of that quote to install, 30 days, provide them with a very easy installation and something that's a very packaged service, which is fantastic. So this is based on our partnership with VeloCloud, VMware. Of course, I'm sure you're probably familiar with our NI products and the availability to go through NI for other SD-WAN providers, but specifically we focus predominantly on VeloCloud. And I think that if you look at the different providers out there that are offering SD-WAN and SD-WAN equipment, VeloCloud is absolutely in the top three, if not in the top two. I mean, it's a really fantastic provider. The SD-WAN Now solution is fantastic. It offers a couple of different levels of service, an enterprise and a premium. With the premium, you get access to the cloud services through the VeloCloud Cloud Services Gateway. It's available in all 50 states, but is not available internationally. So while we have other products that are more alliance-based that support VeloCloud, for SD-WAN Now, there are certain limitations. That's one of them, that it is not available outside of the United States at this time. Additionally, we work with a partner, which is Configure, which handles all the configuration, the installation, everything gets it up and running. Configure is who we will work with to help with the provisioning and the installation of the access connections. And the nice thing about this is it doesn't even have to be an AT&T access connection. We'd love for you to take a look at us. We want to be all of this pie, but if we're not, that's okay. You can just bring us in for that network management and that SD-WAN side of it. We can certainly support cable provider and AT&T service on the other side of that. A couple of different access connections to provide this dynamic multi-path optimization where we're doing that deep packet inspection to determine what's the best path for this service. And where we see this play a lot is where the MPLS services, for instance, that people have been spending a lot of money on, we find out now that, you know, maybe we can, for that same price, bring in a separate connection and maybe we can balance what's being used on that MPLS. Some people will be using MPLS for email traffic and various things. That's a premium service. We've got a wonderful MPLS product, our AVPN service, but you don't necessarily need all of your traffic to go on that. So with the dynamic multipath optimization, what we can do is we can balance the traffic. We can look at this different links based on congestion, latency, and various things to assure that we put that packet on the right link at the right time. We provide a better service. We provide that failover as part of that. And again, it doesn't have to be AT&T as far as that access is concerned. And then the other neat thing about SD-WAN Now, as of right now, we are now available up to 10 gigs, which previously we were limited to 2 gigs. We now can provide up to 10 gigs on that service. And we also have up to 100 megs right now. And as I'm understanding, it may be going up significantly higher before the end of the year, but we can do up to 100 megs for a 4G LTE connection. For disaster recovery, I wouldn't necessarily think of using that as a primary service because there would be data charges associated with that. But for disaster recovery, that's a fantastic way to go. It's built into the device itself. It has slots for 2 SIM cards and the availability for that recovery in the instance that you actually lost. I mean, if there's really, truly a catastrophic disaster, which if I was designing this, I would want 2 different access links, whether it be from AT&T, because we've got them, or from 2 different providers, and I'd want it on different pathways. But if somewhere along the line, a common path has been cut and everything is down, that LTE backup gives you that support that you might not have otherwise. So that's a fantastic way to go as well. And then if your customers are thinking in terms of cloud services, the VeloCloud Cloud Services Gateway and through the premium subscription gives you that access connectivity to multiple cloud service providers. So AT&T certainly is supporting cloud services. We have a number of different solutions for that. But if you're doing SD-WAN and you're thinking cloud or you're already doing cloud, SD-WAN now may be a very good fit for you.
So you brought up a couple good points, right? I think a lot of people aren't sure sometimes, does a provider want to do SD-WAN if they do the circuits as well? Will they do them by themselves? What does these provider want? So it's important, I think, maybe to harp on for a second. You guys are fine either way. Obviously, you want it all if you can, just like we all do. But no matter what, you're good if it's primary circuit, no circuit, over the top, an appliance with the 4G, with the SIM that you're providing as well. So from what I'm gathering, right, complete flexibility in that.
Absolutely. We want to be all of those services. We'd like to come in and offer either two ADIs or an ADI, an AVPN, one of our switched Ethernet connections. We want to be a part of that if we can, or if we can only be one side of that because they want that carrier diversity. That's okay. We work with Configure and they will manage those connections to make sure that they are connected appropriately. Now, one of the other big differences that we see with our SD-WAN now versus, say, what we call our AT&T OTT Bellow Cloud offering, which, by the way, this is still considered an over-the-top product. It's just that we have a separate one that offers that solution for that international play. As well, then, with SD-WAN now, we give view-only access to the orchestrator. So the customer will have that ability to look at their orchestration, their business policies, see what their network is doing. However, if they want to make changes, and if you have an IT team that's a little bit more sophisticated, it's really fairly simple. They'll open a MACD request with Configure. It's a change ticket. We'll open that up, and we have a 4-hour maximum SLA turnaround for that to be complete. So it's still very flexible. If your customer is one that is feeling like they want to have that granular control, not just the view, but read and they want that write access, then we might be looking at a little different product set. We might have to run that through Alliance or the NI team, depending on what it is. So that's a little limitation that I want to make sure that everybody is aware of, that it has read-only access to the orchestration. However, Configure will manage that network, and if all goes well, Configure will know that it's having a problem long before the customer does. In fact, maybe even before AT&T does. We work in conjunction with Configure to assure that when there's an issue with one of those connections, or potentially both, which we hope, again, that they're not necessarily on the same path coming into the building or on the same route outside of the building, we want to know if there's a problem on those links and make sure that the customer knows before the customer knows. We know well ahead of time. And so those are just a couple of differences that I want to make sure that I put out there regarding that and regarding some of the different SD-WAN offerings and solutions that AT&T offers. And we have a myriad of different ones to choose from. And there are variances with each one, which is why you want to bring in Telarus, you want to bring in your partners, have them get a chance to meet with myself, with your team, Josh. We will help you find the way through this. SD-WAN initially is a little frightening, so is security. It's another biggie for us. We want to do what we can to help you. We're here. I'm here. I really want to get to know your people. Like, as I always kind of say, I'm like, I want to know you, show you, and help grow you. That's what I'm here for. And I want to get those calls, and I want to be a part of those discussions.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we'd highly encourage, and the whole part of this, right, is not just to get to know the platform, it's for people to get to know you that haven't had an experience, right? There's no reason in my mind why anybody wouldn't want to bring you in, right? You've always been a phenomenal resource for us, especially, helping navigate. There are so many things within the portfolio that can solve the business problems, right? And so having you help us understand which one makes the right sense at the right time. If SD-WAN now isn't the right fit, there's likely something else there. So I would really encourage anybody to make sure that we get connected with you that wants to help you figure out how to bring them in.
Absolutely. And I think as salespeople, even as a sales engineer, our job, we're as we grow in the role, the idea is that we become more that selling engineer, right? We help out with the actual sale itself. And we all want to make that one-stop shop and that one-stop sale. And that does happen. But I think as we continue to evolve with these services, we have to know the right questions to ask and what questions may turn into more questions to try to tailor that fit. I see customization as a core function of how networks are managed and purchased even today, because of the different options that are available to suit the specific needs of those customers. And SD-WAN and SD-WAN Now is no exception.
Good stuff. So for anybody that's not ventured down the SD-WAN road, when do you think, these partners, keep in mind, right, they're talking to customers different times, different budgets, different projects. When have you found the most effective time to start working with these customers with regard to SD-WAN and start having that conversation if they haven't yet?
I think the SD-WAN conversation can happen, it seems to me, in a couple of different timelines. One is where we're talking about the basic access itself. And if it's a customer who's either upgrading access or they've never had access and they don't necessarily know what they don't know. And it might be a great time to talk about this, because somebody who's kind of fresh or starting a new business that has that ability to make some of those decisions ahead of time, rather than just bringing in that single link or that single MPLS link, let's have that discussion with them about what the benefits of SD-WAN are and how SD-WAN Now can benefit that client. Let's see what their needs are, what type of business it is that they're running. Certainly, if they just log on and check email once a day and it's not necessarily something that they do a lot of networking with, maybe not necessarily the right fit. But for somebody who's actively looking at upgrading their access or wants a larger access pipe and is thinking MPLS and is thinking in terms of private traffic and some of the things associated with that, then I think it's really time up front to have these conversations. Ask them if they've ever heard of SD-WAN. Do they understand what it is? We talk about SD-WAN, and I think it's funny, many years ago I worked on SS7, and we used to call that advanced intelligent networking. And when you really think about it, and when you look at what SD-WAN is, it's kind of the new advanced intelligent networking. It's got almost a touch of AI associated with it because of the nature of what it does. And, there's a lot of benefits to that some customers may or may not be aware of. And so I want to have that conversation as early as possible. And I'd say if it's somebody who's upgrading their services or is thinking that they've heard about SD-WAN and they want to know more, I think there's a lot of different times that this conversation can take place. And I think that those are great points, especially we're getting towards the end of a contract. We're going to be doing a renewal. Well, what are they thinking of doing? Are they just going to renew, or are they going to want to continue to pay this high price on MPLS, where we might be able to enhance their network by bringing in something a little better, continue to have some MPLS, but then bring in some redundancy and diversity and offer them something new? And I think it's not just that shiny penny, but it's just something really great that can help them to be more efficient.
That's a good point. Okay, I like it. Let's talk about security. So we know that VeloCloud, has some capabilities as a stateful firewall, some basic blocking and allowing ports, amongst some other things. But you've got some other things there in the portfolio that I think are key for everybody to know. So can we go into what two of those products are? Maybe we start first with the Zscaler piece and talk about what that is, where it is, where it fits, and then how that might apply, right? How customers might discover an opportunity that might be a good fit for that, what to look for.
Sure. It's interesting right now. I don't feel like there should be an access discussion of any kind. And remember, SD-WAN very much is an access discussion. I don't feel like there should be an access discussion that does not also include security at this point. And we need to think in terms of layers of security. The SD-WAN Now platform, the VeloCloud VCE platform, is a fantastic platform. It does have a built-in firewall. It is semi-stateful. I wouldn't necessarily rely on it for all security purposes and for all security protocols that I was looking at to make sure that my network was secure. If I'm thinking in terms of SD-WAN Now and SD-WAN services from AT&T, I think that I might talk to the customer first and foremost to find out if they're an existing access customer. Do they have a firewall today? In which point it might be worthwhile to evaluate their firewall to determine its capabilities versus what's available within the VeloCloud itself. Depending on what we're doing there, we might want to look at bringing in Zscaler, which is really more of that outbound type of security services, that sort of request and response-based service, which will run the traffic through the Zscaler gateways to sort of filter and determine the website that it's going to at a DNS level, take a look at it. Is that website what they think it is? And then are we looking at potentially bringing back malware? We want to clean that before that happens, absolutely. But here again, this is not unsolicited inbound traffic. This is requests going outbound. So potentially end users within the business or even connected to a Wi-Fi solution that's available publicly for the business. So I really think that Zscaler is a great play for that, especially since Zscaler plays very well with an existing firewall, or potentially AT&T might look at bringing a firewall in that maybe is a little bit sturdier than the VeloCloud or what the customer is using already today. And so with that, I might look at another play that's within our global security gateway, which is a Palo Alto play where we bring in the next gen firewall. It's a prem-based firewall that we would sit on the other side of the VeloCloud device. And then also giving us that same cloud-based firewalling service, DNS check, that basically goes on at the cloud. Again, it's request and response based service, but then also with that site-based firewall, that next gen feel, so that what we've got going on there is that inbound unsolicited traffic, we're taking a look at that and we're making sure, should this traffic be coming in? Now, I would add another one to this too, and that would be if those things look too expensive, maybe to the customer, we might want to talk about Enterprise Traffic Protector as well, which is just basically a cloud-based proxy, assuring that customers, when they go to websites, doing a DNS lookup, it determines, again, is that a spoofed website? Am I going to be bringing back malware that's potentially going to be loaded into our network and then allowing our network to attack other networks? Which is where I'm about to go with the next layer, which is even with a SD-WAN solution, and with firewalls in place, we need to think in terms of DDoS and DDoS attacks. A lot of people don't understand that a DDoS attack isn't necessarily covered by the firewall. It's actually something that comes in and effectively floods that router before it ever gets to the firewall, and it disables business. And it's usually happening from a number of different networks or pieces of equipment that have been compromised. And it's not necessarily very easy for the end user to mitigate something like that. And it's relatively inexpensive to add DDoS. So here again, I want to kind of think in terms of some layers. And I would say to you, even if you're not talking about SD-WAN now or an SD-WAN solution, if you're talking about ADI or what we call ADI, which is our DIA product, I would say to you, AVPN, again, our MPLS-based service, I would be thinking in terms of DDoS, no matter what that access solution was. I think it's something that should just be coming along. We need to think in terms of bundling it. It's a great upsell for your partners. And I think that it's the responsible thing to do with the clients and explaining. But here again, this isn't necessarily that one-stop shop. We're going to be going in and we're going to be having that thought leadership that these customers need to help them through the process to understand that the threats that used to be in the internet a few years ago are drastically different to what is out there today.
Those are good points. We covered a lot of ground there. I'm going to pick on Palo for a second. I mean, that's a huge name, right, that's out there. And I think that our partners, obviously, and us, we want to see everything get picked up. We want to see the network, we want to see the SD-WAN, we want to see the cloud, the security, but we realize that customers have hardware is aging out at different times. There's different initiatives. Sometimes this has to happen before that. And so we're cognizant of that. And, just like we talked about when and how we can procure Velo through you, right? It doesn't have to come with a circuit, but we'd love it if it does. And you'll take that either way. Talk to me about the Palo piece of it, right? In the global security gateway. Can I go into a deal with you guys and sell Palo, the managed Palo on-prem by itself? Do I need other accompanying services with that? What's the criteria there?
No, that's a great point. I mean, whether it's SD-WAN, whether it's AT&T access or someone else's access, our global security gateway products are managed services. They are available. We can come in with that next-gen Palo Alto firewall. We can also have that cloud-based service that's provided for that request response-based traffic that's available via global security gateway. And the nice thing about that, that's sort of that premium version of global security gateway. The nice thing with that is that you get both services, that site-based firewall plus that cloud request response-based service, and it's manageable from a single pane of glass. A customer with a small, medium-sized IT department will have that ability to go into a portal, view that. It's totally managed by AT&T. If they've got questions, concerns, they can contact our security operations center, 24/7 operations center, ready to help them. This works perfectly with our SD-WAN offers. And again, if we're talking access and we're not talking SD-WAN, let's absolutely have this security discussion. And if the partners, if the customers aren't comfortable in having those discussions, that's what I'm here for. I want to come along and I want to explain this and find a way that we can get people to better understand what the risks are associated with this and really how low the expense is. I mean, we have to consider network architectures and budgets at this point that we have to maintain an actual line item that is just for security. And this goes from the basic access all the way into some of the more sophisticated type access services like SD-WAN.
You bring up a good point. I mean, now obviously, security was important before. Now we've exposed the ability for what my attack surface is and poke some holes in that attack surface. And so I think that now, just as much as before, it's important to have that central point managed, right? Because our users are still connecting corporately. And if we don't have the right tools and technology to give them that visibility, but also have it supported and managed by folks that sit in that NOC and know how to support it and manage it, then what good is that technology, right? Are we really maximizing what that can do for us? So I love that you've got that capability. There's an SLA that everybody's beholden to, right? And it's, the NOC is there 24/7 for everything that they need. So I hope people are kind of seeing and figuring out, well, I could plug you in here. I could plug you in here. I'd like to get them both, but I can get just this one. So a lot of depth in the portfolio. And I think we've only really covered a sliver of it. So it's been great.
I think it's true from the very basic levels of security, which really begins at that firewall level. And then we sort of work our way upward on that stack. For the larger businesses, of course, we've got Alien Vault, Managed Threat Detection and Response, our USM Anywhere, which is sort of that customer managed version of that. Again, if we get into the really in-depth conversations with these clients, if we need to do trainings with the channel partners that you're working with, we'd be happy to bring in security specialists that know, well, they'll put me to shame. I'm learning constantly, which I said early on, it's a great thing about this job, but we've got some amazing people working here. And they are here and dedicated to help support those customers, to support the channel providers, everybody for the right reasons. Because we are that line in the sand right now that is carrying all the information, the video, the voice, the data that is allowing the remote workers, that is allowing us all to continue to be connected through what's going on in the world today. I'm joking around about COVID-19 and I'm saying, okay, COVID-19, that's all right. AT&T, they call it COVID. I call it, 4K vid. Heck, AT&T's got all kinds of goodies for you. We want to bring that along, our global security gateway, our enterprise traffic protector, not only these great security offerings, but they're also going to help out with remote access as well for those remote users, those remote learners. We allow them to it provides an application that can be downloaded on the iPhone, a Droid, an iPad, a laptop, a work from home desktop solution. We will make sure that they are logging in securely while still offering these great access services at the same time, additional layers of security, making sure that people are working remote safely, securely, and it's not causing a detriment to the business itself that they're supporting.
Good points. So as we as we wrap up, partners are sometimes planting seeds and opportunities. Sometimes they know about an opportunity right now. So we like to, when folks watch this, we want to make sure that we're thinking out, right? Not just what you guys have now, but what's coming over the next 6 to 12 months. Is there, as partners are having these conversations with their customers and opportunities are coming into the pipeline, are there things that you want them to consider? Are there things that are going to be coming that we should be paying attention to, either products that are new, products that are evolving? What do you want us to keep our eye on, and our partners as well?
I guess I want you to know that whether you're working with Alliance or whether you're working with ACC, the product portfolio with ACC is going to continue to grow. We'll see cloud services, co-location, some of those things that will hopefully become available via ACC by the end of the year, if not shortly thereafter. If you can't work with ACC to find those things that you need, let's talk about our alliance partners, our channel managers to help out with that. I don't want to turn away any of these business opportunities because one's ACC or one's alliance. We can't do one or the other. Let's work together and find a way to find that solution. And again, it just boils down to that thought leadership, that discussion on what's the best thing, how do we work this internally that we all benefit from, but most of all, that the customer gets what they want. The customer sees that AT&T is there to support them, and we're going to cut away that red tape so that we don't get stuck on one side or the other of this thing. Alliance and ACC are becoming one. Our product offerings are becoming productized across the board, and it's just a matter of time. And I want you to know that whether it's VeloCloud, Silver Peak, or some of the other offers that we have, or if you want to talk UCaaS, if you want to talk IoT, cellular, we have solutions for all of these things. We have resources. We are here. We are ready to help. And me especially, I want to meet these guys. I want to meet everybody. I want to be a part of these discussions. I can't tell you, I enjoy being in front of customers. I'm a little bit loquacious, as you can see, but I really like seeing those lights come on with people. I enjoy that. I really do. I think it's just a great place to be.
Love it, man. Love it. Love the energy you bring to this. It makes it much easier. So look, man, that's it. We're coming to the end. I appreciate you being with us, everybody. Kent George, the world-renowned sales engineer from AT&T. Kent, thanks so much for spending some time with us today, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate the opportunity. I'll come back and talk with you guys anytime you want to talk specifics on one product or another. And again, you know what? I hope my phone starts ringing. I want to get to work with you guys as much as possible.
Love it. All right, everybody. You heard wrapping up another one today. Getting a chance to kind of dive into the SD-WAN now and some of the AT&T security portfolio as well. So stay tuned. Appreciate you watching these as part of our Race to the Summit series. So until next time, thanks, everybody.